Thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop. On today's review, we take a look at the Marvel Legends Walgreens exclusive X-Men Emma Frost. Today I'll be reviewing this figure in 6 categories: accessories, articulation, design, is it essential to your collection, functionality, and price. Once those scores are totaled, I'll give you my opinion if this figure is a pass or a purchase. So for accessories, what you see is what you get. Let's rip it out the package and take a closer look. So Emma comes with 2 head sculpts, the first of which is already on the figure. We'll call this a long hair version. So just focusing on the hair for a moment, it appears to have some sparkles throughout. I can't tell for sure if this is done intentional, but I have it on both sides. You can see some glimmer here, as well as some on this side as well. And the hair is done decent. So focusing on the face, I think Hasbro has gotten so much better with the detail in the eyes. And if you pull the hair back, you can see the eyes fully painted. The lipstick also looks nice. So moving on to the second head sculpt, which is my favorite out of the 2. And this one really reminds me of Emma Frost with her white costume. So I really like the line work in the hair. I think that was done very well. There's no shading, but I feel like it's not missing. And the face sculpt here is phenomenal. The lip sculpt, lipstick, excuse me, or the paint that they use for the lipstick looks nice. The eyes look good. So I really like this head sculpt. And we receive 2 fisted hands. So for the accessories, it's a bit disappointing. We could have received some of the pieces that came along with Psylocke, or even the cheesy particle effect pieces that comes with most figures that have powers. But I would have liked to have something additional in package. So for overall accessories, I'm going to give Emma a 6 out of 10. So for articulation, the head is able to move up about that far, heavily restricted due to the hair. You're able to get it to rotate a full 360 if you choose to. You get a decent amount of pivot and just a little bit of forward and backwards movement. Now I want to point out that this shoulder is a separate piece. However, it is connected maybe to the cape. So with the arm, you're able to extend it that far, which in my opinion is good. It's unable to rotate a full 360 due to the shoulder piece, but it is able to move forward that much, backward this much. The arm is able to fully rotate. No upper bicep swivel, female arms. Already know that the elbows will be single jointed, but you get a good amount of movement. The hands are able to rotate a full 360 and swivel up and down, but not side to side. So now with the torso, you have the upper and lower piece. So using the upper piece, you get a good amount of rotation. It's able to move forward that much, backwards that much, and you get a good amount of pivot side to side. So now here's one of the situations to where the upper part of the torso gives you much more movement than the lower. So there is no, so with the lower, there is no swivel, no crunch, no movement whatsoever. So the upper portion is what gives you all of the movement. So now with the legs, they're able to split about that far, kick forward that far, move backwards about that much. You do get an upper thigh cut. Knees are double jointed, bending in about that much. No rotation at the boot. However, you do get this floating piece here. And the boots are able, mine are very stiff, able to move forward that much, backwards that much. Wait a minute. Is there no pivot? Oh my goodness, there's no pivot. And no pivot. So for articulation, there are some disappointing areas. The fact that if you want to turn the figure, you're only able to move the top portion and not the bottom. So this line will always be here. And it just does not give you that natural curve or movement to a human anatomy. So that's disappointing. Also, with the lack of pivot, I thought that this was something that Marvel Legends really had down packed. So the fact that this doesn't move at all, and let me try to get another try just to make sure. No, mine doesn't move at all. So for overall articulation, I'm going to give Emma a 6 out of 10. So for design, I definitely want to revisit something that I talked about in accessories. I had mentioned that there appears to be a shimmer in her hair. There is no question about it. It's coming out especially at the root and probably around in this area here. It's one of those things that may not show well on camera, but having the figure in hand, you'll certainly see it. And there's also a color variation on the hair. It's not darker color. It appears to be a grayish or some sort of white. And the same can be said true for this as well. So if this was done to mimic her diamond feature, that's a nice touch by Hasbro. So just continuing, the face is very clean. The lipstick is done well. And though I am not too familiar with this attire, it looks very well. The black, which is broken up by skin. The one thing that I can tell you is a bit off. I'm not sure if this is the new version of Emma Frost, but in the 90s animated series and comics, the White Queen cleavage was probably out to here. So Hasbro certainly reduced that. So the X looks well enough. The one area that's a bit sloppy is this buckle. I would assume if anything would have been not painted so well, it would have been the loops, but you can see this paint here isn't so clean. So just working our way down, Hasbro did a good job of transitioning from the black to the skin tone, and so I managed to capture this back. So the gray is also done well, the round lines here. And I don't have a lot of bleeding, whether skin tone to black or from black to skin tone or gray to black. So that's, all right, so I managed to get this back from the clutches of Godzilla. So just continuing, I'm not a fan of these boots, as we'll get into that in the functionality department. So for overall design, I'm going to give Emma a 9 out of 10. So is Emma Frost essential to your collection? If you are a X-Men collector, then yes. However, not this version. The version that most people identify with will be the all white. So even though this is a good look for Emma, in my opinion, it is not essential. So as far as being essential to your collection, I'm going to give this version of Emma Frost a 5 out of 10. So for functionality, the head is easy enough to exchange. Simply hold the body, pop the head off, and just insert it. The hands are also easy enough to exchange. So for pricing, let's get right into it. Emma comes in priced at 20 bucks. Add in the $2 for taxes, and you're looking at a price point of $22. So now, is she worth the price of admission? Well, let's take a look at what she comes with. In terms of accessories, we do not receive a lot. We do get an additional pair of hands, which is always a nice touch. However, more importantly, we receive an additional head sculpt. And in my opinion, that goes a long way further than having additional hands. Also throw in the fact that it's a 6-inch action figure that's priced for 20 bucks. Outside the realm of Marvel Legends, there aren't many options to where you can buy a 6-inch action figure for 20 bucks. So for pricing, I'm going to give Emma a 10 out of 10. So that should give Emma an overall Cliff score of 43 out of 60. So is she a pass or a purchase? I think for many collectors, this version of Emma Frost is not a must-have. However, I must admit that it is a great looking piece. So it is absolutely a purchase, especially considering the price point. So here's Emma positioned by herself, and I assure you she's laying against something to hold her up. Here's Emma next to Marvel Legends Elektra. I'm not sure that was English. Marvel Legends Elektra. Here she is next to Marvel Legends Rogue. And I'm hoping that Hasbro gives us another version of Rogue. And here she is next to Marvel Legends Hope. And man, do we need a new version of her. So I want to thank you for tuning in to Mr. Cliff's Toy Shop, and I hope to catch you during the next review.